You coming? All right.
We good?
Let me know. Catch up. We got our crew here, so let's go ahead and kick the music there.
Ready?
There we go.
Everybody, welcome to another terrible podcast by comics. I'm your host, comedian Eerie Diamond, and this is my lovely co-host, aspiring professional comedian, Mr. Mean Dave. Hello, Mean Dave.
Hello.
All right. Well, let's introduce our guests. Take it away, Dave.
Awesome. Everybody, thanks for joining us once again. Welcome to another terrible podcast by comics. I think most of you we are familiar with our show. For those who don't, these comedians, we have comedians, and we have a guest who is one of our regular audience attendees joining us. The theme of today's show is San Luis Obispo, aka SLO, as it's referred to, and these are comics who we've known for the last couple of years. I've known Michael since, I don't know, 2013 or 14 or something like that.
Yeah, probably.
And Michael Zalusky here, and Rick Storr just a little bit less than that. But these are very funny comics from that area who produced shows and performed all there and elsewhere. So without further ado, let's introduce you guys. This is our Rick Storr and Michael Zalusky. Give them a round of applause, everybody.
Here, I'll give you applause, Michael. My applause is for you. There you go.
Joining that panel as well is Deneen McGovern, one of our regulars, but who also is pretty much every bit a part of the San Luis Obispo comedy scene down there. As everybody in SLO, who's anybody who does comedy down there, knows Deneen. And that's
absolutely. That is absolutely true.
Sorry.
Nothing apologizing for. This has been, because it all started, my introduction to Deneen was simply a show filling in for another headliner last minute in Atascadero at the what is it, the Dragon Theater or the movie theater or whatever it is?
Oh, yeah. Galaxy
Theater. Yeah. So that was, and then Deneen was attending that show, and then I got to, basically it was a one-on-one conversation with Deneen while I fit in some material in for the rest of the audience. And
sounds standard. That sounds standard.
Yeah, it was wonderful. So let's introduce you guys to this show. So our first subject, our standard getting to know you segment, is called Listen Up, where we basically let our guests give us their life story in about 200 words or less. So no pressure. It's not an exact science. You don't have to count the words or nothing. It's just give us your quickest autobiography. We'll start with you, Rick Storr.
Well, the entire time I've been sitting here, I've been hoping that people don't think that the picture behind me is me. And then I figured that I also didn't do myself any favors by putting on the sunglasses. It's just a different fat guy. I hope that's... So my life is trying not to be that fat guy. Trying to be just under that, and this is what I've gotten. I like to wear sunglasses. I have a cat. And I would say my favorite color is yellow.
Okay. Do you care if you're wet or not, like the dude behind you, or?
I don't prefer to be super dry, though I do like to wear super dry.
Gotcha.
But I would rather be dry than wet, I think. Just because I'm fat, I am a fat guy, so I chafe easily. And when you're a wet fat guy, that happens a lot easier.
Okay. All right, that's probably the most in the moment, present autobiography we've got. Normally, people tell us about their past.
Yeah. What is the past? But it's already past, man. This is now is a gift. That's why it's called the present.
Existential biography. I like that. All right, that was Rick Storr, everybody, comedian from San Luis Obispo, and our next comedian from the San Luis Obispo area. Michael Zalusky, give us your life story in about 200 words or less.
I am Michael Zalusky. You might notice me from Rick Storr's background. Also, just, great dad, quality liver, living the dream, just master of his surroundings. I'm a mess. I am literally a mess. I've always been a mess. I make little to no money during quarantine. And Luis was about to take his shirt off, which I thought was nice. You should do that, Luis. And really just save me for my intro. I have nothing else to say. I do comedy. I've done comedy for a long time now. It seems like a very long time. Basically, just trying to hold it together, just like the rest of us. Am I right, guys? Am I right, guys?
Yeah.
Is that
And
200 words?
yeah, perfect. That was perfect. It's just a loose guideline. You hear 200, just brief. That's basically all it's implying.
Beautiful.
Everybody Deneen, but Deneen, remind everybody, catch us up to speed, who the hell you are.
Chup, who the hell I am. Well, first of all, I don't know if Rick remembers the Slowdoco show where he actually did take his shirt off. I still have that video. It was hilarious.
That's a staple of my intoxication.
No, it was really good. But of course, I don't pander. I don't post it. So plus you have no money anyway. So
yeah, exactly.
Anyway, well, everyone pretty much knows me, but I love comedy. I went to a lot of comedy in the 80s and the 90s in the Bay Area. Then when I came to SLO, aka San Luis Obispo, I was here for a few years and got really just bored and made myself go out to a comedy show run by our friend Sal Espana. And I think Rick and Michael were at that first show, and it's been history ever since.
It's the beautiful, beautiful tale of Aunt Deneen taking care of everybody in the comedy.
Love.
Comedy mom.
She is the comedy mom.
What year was that? What year again was that?
For me, when I started going to 2018.
2018. So it's still fairly recent. Okay.
Yeah, pretty recent. But I mean, she became a regular face very quickly.
A thorn in their side, a pebble in their shoe.
Well, I love when you
pimple.
talk all the time during shows. I'm one of those terrible comics that kind of encourages people to ruin stand-up comedy because I love making fun of you in front of people. It's like one of my favorite things.
And I loved it too. That's why Mike and I because he just gets up there. He's a big teddy bear, but he's up there and he's really scary.
Mm-hmm.
But
well,
he's met his match when he met me. Well, no, we were very evenly matched.
Right on. So,
Dave, are these your parents?
Who? Dylan Gordillo, right?
Yeah.
You know what they do? They that's my nephew's. They're using my nephew's Zoom account.
They just look like everybody's grandparents. How do you?
How dare you call them grandparents? Because they are,
rude.
but they don't. They're
so rude.
Yeah.
They are, but I shouldn't call them that.
They're young at heart. All right. Just because they got white hair doesn't mean that they're children.
No, it had much less to do with the white hair, much more to do with the technological.
Look, now you just walked my stepdad. Good job, Rick.
Hey,
Good fucking job.
and Rick, what you don't know is Rebecca, Dave's mom, her husband Mark is younger man. She's my idol.
Mm.
Well, it had less to do with the gray hair, more to do with the struggling over the technology.
Mm-hmm.
He's back.
Oh, they're not struggling over the technology. Trust me. They're just
Mark. I mean, not him. Dave.
Yes.
This isn't Dylan's. This is our iPad. But when Dylan comes, he uses it for school.
Yeah, I know. That's what I just said. Well,
Don't
just go with
misappropriate
it,
the
Mom.
iPad, Dave. How could you do
You're
this?
right,
This is a Dave's
Dave.
problem now.
You don't need to be literally accurate.
Right,
Just
Dave.
Good
go
job,
with the
Dave.
bit. Just run with the bit.
Wow.
Everybody exaggerates for
Everything
comedy's sake.
extracts
I'm
from
on my cousin's Kindle, so we're in the same
Oh.
we're in the same boat.
I've been living at my parents' house this entire time. It's all been a ruse. Me moving out. All right. So yes, they haven't aged a day since we were children. Yeah, it's just their hair. That's the only thing that's and it looks beautiful, beautiful silver. So all right. So our next topic.
You're my power couple.
Damn right. Well, our next topic is our basic weekly checking in with how we all are doing in the shelter in place. How are you holding up? So we're going to start with our co-host, wonderful co-host here, Eerie Diamond. How are you holding up this week?
Oh, I've had a really good week. because I was off work. So I took a week off, and so I've been sleeping until like 11 o'clock in the morning, and wearing pajamas most of the day. Last weekend was awesome. I had my birthday, and we had a great show, and my mother-in-law is staying here, and she's awesome. She's like a giant cat living at your house. Like, it's interesting. She's the quietest person well, I don't know if you guys want to hear this. She's super quiet. She wears sneakers everywhere. She kind of dresses like a 80s rapper. She has like she likes sweatsuits that match. And she wears her sneakers, and she's so quiet that she'll be like, Mija, and she's standing like right behind you. You're like, ah, what are you like? And you walk into a room, and she's sitting in a chair in the dark, and you're just like, what the hell? How did you even get in here? And she is the sweetest lady in the world. And I'm having a great week. I have no complaints. How's your week going, Dave? Good week?
Really, I mean, the week was uneventful, but last night we will get to later in the show. But last night I did a live comedy show that my good friend Jason and his friend Harry were at, and also attending that show, my landlord and some guests, one of which became the subject of a conversation that we'll bring up later. But yeah, but other than that, fairly decent week.
Heavy foreshadowing.
Oh,
Yeah,
it
the
is.
suspense is palpable.
Stick around, everybody, for the.
Are we going to a commercial break or something? That's like
No. We got other subjects to talk about. But other than that, beyond the epic hurdle of last night, which was really pretty fun, Adam Close, local comedian, he ran a great. The guest was a great kook. He ran a great show outside Bamboo Hut, which is a bar in San Francisco, and they were doing a show on the street, literally on Broadway, and it was cool. We had a nice crowd, small, cool crowd. Comics were all good, and but we had one, again, it never ceases to amaze me how much the people that I bring will become a factor in. I basically bring my own comedy obstacle course for not just myself, but for everybody in the fucking show. It's happened before, and here it was again. So, but yeah, we'll talk about that more later. So, Deneen, how's your week been this week?
It's been well.
Yeah.
Really, pretty much my life has been the same pre and post pandemic, except now I don't get to go out and go to comedy anymore. So
but there has, I mean, I guess we'll get to this with you guys as well, like later. But are things like starting to like operate outdoors in your area? No,
it's starting to trickle in. There's a couple of shows that are going on at restaurants and things like that. But yeah, it's all patio shows. Yeah, and it's all really. From everything I've seen so far, I've not been attending any because of family and stuff like that, and just the worry of the actual COVID that's still here. So, but they are starting to happen now, but it's sparse.
Gotcha. Cool. And so I guess we'll go with you, Michael. How's your week been? How are you? Actually, not just your week, but how is the experience of shelter in place? How have you been holding up during this entire ordeal?
Well, it's been up and down. We were pregnant through. My wife was, obviously. I'm not. No fat jokes. But my wife was pregnant in the beginning of the quarantine, so getting through that was really, really stressful. And then once our kid got here, it kind of was like a little bit of a sigh of relief in a way. Like it was just, you were just so worried in the beginning of it, but. Now I've started to kind of get my mental sanity back a little bit. I don't allow myself to read the fucking news that much anymore. I do about an hour a day, and that's it. And then I cut myself off, and I'm done because that outside frustration is just insane with all this stuff going on in politics and shit. It's just like it. So really, I guess my thing is working on the balance of like trying to keep my mental sanity and actually knowing what's occurring in the world. So I think I've found a pretty okay balance, and I love it. I get to spend time with my new son, and it's been kind of a weird gift in a way, even though it's this terrible situation. So I guess I want to say I feel all right. I feel okay. I feel like I'm holding on.
That's terrific news.
What?
Yeah.
How long ago was the baby born? I'm forgetting. Like
July 1st.
July 1st. So it's a few
Oh,
months.
wow.
Ago. Yeah. So it's been like how long? I can't even count months.
It's like 3 months. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Wow. Time's flying. I did what we call a 12th step call in recovery, where a relative of a good friend of mine, they had an intervention, and they wanted me to talk to them to kind of like give them some background on appealing to them the benefits of recovery. Call this person. They're actually a relative of someone known in entertainment too, and so I'm calling the stranger, giving them the pitch of recovery and all of that, and for the most part, like they don't, giving them this basic breakdown of everything, and I told them that I would send them what we call the Just for Today every day from now on, doing recovery. And then it dawned on me, I'm like, I wonder how, like, the guy's got to be coming up on 30 days now. Like, it just feels like it was a couple weeks ago. And I said, hey, how's everything going? You still, hanging in there? Because I send him the Just for Today every day, but I've only heard one response from him since then. Mm-hmm. And he goes, actually, I just got 35 days. And I was like, holy shit, time, like he's already hit a milestone, which is a big deal in early recovery, getting 30 days. So I was really happy for him.
This must be really hard for people trying to go through recovery right now, man. Like, I don't want to bring it down, but this situation must be really difficult for people trying to get into recovery. It has been,
well, I'll put it this way. It has been for people who work a week program, or who are, who weren't, like, basically people who work a week program, or were kind of like just on the fence. And if they're working a strong program, most people, they deal with powerlessness. Like, they've been dealing with this pandemic like just a Jedi, just kind of like, this is the panic you're looking for. And then newcomers, surprisingly, there's been really cool newcomers. I've been seeing a lot of positive results because of the Zoom meetings. It makes it easier than ever to go to a meeting. So if that's their introduction into it, it's been pretty cool.
So you guys do a lot of Zoom meetings and stuff?
It's all, it's been, most of it went to Zoom. There were still some live meetings, which then a lot of people were like up in arms about, but fact is there's people that don't have technology to do that. And I feel like it is still imperative to have at least a meeting, a live meeting that with people who are willing to be of service and deal with the risks of COVID, so long as they're willing and so long as they're practicing, what guidelines. Because I was actually doing service out of the only facility that's been open the entire time, and they were like people trying to bring. I don't want to get into all the legalese of it, but we're not. It's not illegal for us to meet, basically. So, all right, Rick. After that long tangent, how have you been holding? You seem to be holding up just fine. Never mind. We're skipping you, Rick.
Sounds good. I
have a question. Rick, how many pairs of sunglasses do you own? I think everyone wants to know.
It's a number between 1 and 17.
Okay.
And that's I feel like
you
if
have
I give
one
away
pair of sunglasses, don't you?
Shut up, Michael. If I give away more than that, you're gonna like dox me or something. I can't have my sunglass information out there.
You think I'm gonna rob
For
your
those
house?
who don't know what doxing is,
anybody could dox me.
Hey, tell people what doxing means. We are not a hacker, 4chan, Q fucking anon, any of these.
Doxing.
Richard is QAnon. He is 100%.
Don't you dare! Don't you dare say that! I am the opposite of QAnon.
I am. Let's hear it.
The dirtiest fight I've ever.
I am O specific. I am the opposite of QAnon.
It's about the adrenochrome, Rick.
It's getting hot in here, Luis. I will join you, baby. You give me the sign, and I'll do it. Mostly just drinking and getting high, really.
So, Richard, when you're not policing 8chan forums, what are you doing in your free time?
I'm usually I'm lurking on Reddit. Yeah. I like to troll.
Yeah.
Lurking on Reddit.
I like to troll the 4chan.
Yeah.
Are you owning the libs?
Oh, dude, owning the libs every day. Let me show you my Pepe tattoo.
Wow.
I
So,
fucking hate that shit so much. Like, if anyone's gonna chop and screw this interview and make it look like
not at
Yeah,
all.
screwed and chopped. You're gonna get a nice Houston remix out of this, Richard. You'll get a nice ATL breakdown.
This is
a brand new Harlem Shake video.
This is a safe space for hating stupidity right here, Rick. And you're in good hands.
That's I just got off a
Deneen
30-day. What?
You just interrupt us, Deneen. You don't have to raise your hand.
Yeah, you don't
just
have to
interrupt the fuck out of us.
Me and Davis trained me well wherever he is.
He's over there.
Well, he's up now.
No, he's over there. You're wrong.
Wherever he is.
Yeah. See?
There you go. There he is.
No, of course, I'm just going to be a little know-it-all that I did Google doxing. I kind of forgot.
Yes, it's so Janine can tell you. No, it's short for dog boxing.
Mm-hmm.
No.
It's when you.
It's short for dachshund boxing. Hello.
It's short for Dokken boxing. It's when you go back to the 80s and you battle a pop band from Germany.
No, yeah, Richard has since had his animal rights taken away from him.
I have to Google everything. Thank God for Urban Dictionary.
What is
doxing? You're making Dokken references too. My references.
Janine, what is doxing?
I think that you find it all the information or documents and information on people and publish it there. You find all the crap on them and just put it out there. And
you're putting personal information out there for all of these creeps to then act upon.
Yeah, exactly.
It's to endanger people, basically.
When you hear it on the internet nowadays, it tends to refer to people giving your address away.
Yeah,
that's what it tends to do.
Yeah.
I'd also like to mention that a good friend of mine went to a Dokken concert and said it was one of the best concerts. There were lasers and there was like a laser dragon and he had like a laser sword that he like battled the dragon.
Really leaning on the lasers. I feel like the lasers are doing a lot of the heavy lifting in that show.
Laser dragons are the most dangerous.
Was not why people went. Okay, that
That's
was
right.
Was it a Dokken show or did she go to the planetarium?
I think this is definitely leading us into our next topic.
Really?
Because what we're
perfect segue.
What we're experiencing is very emblematic of San Luis Obispo.
Got it.
This is the San Luis Obispo County brand of comedy, where these guys basically just ramble and bramble and throw each other under the bus because they got a strong bus system out there in San Luis Obispo. And
shout out to RTA.
It's a really cool tight-knit circle out there because I've had the pleasure of getting to know these guys through the initial open mic that oddly enough, the guy who introduced us to it was that guy Gavin Cooper. Long time ago. There's a name.
That's a flashback.
And he vanished off into the south or somewhere. But that's how I met Michael Zalusky, who ran a great open mic that was basically a showcase level open mic at what was that the name of that place?
At the time, it was called Molly Pitcher, but it's now changed names to Tent City, and it's a little brewery here in town. And right. I know it seems
that's the stupidest name I've ever heard.
Yeah, there's this weird. Here's a history lesson for you. In Atascadero, when people first came here, there was this very famous man that started the town and wanted people to move here. Well, he was also a prolific con artist, and so when they bought these houses to move to town, there was no fucking houses. They had to build them themselves. So they all lived in tents. And then somebody went, "I should name my beer hall after that." It's a fucking terrible story. I don't get it at all.
Anyone notice Luis took his shirt off? He did it.
That's good. That's great. Sexy up the show. But no, so that it almost sounds like Atascadero almost sounds like it's a task. I don't know. There's a hammy joke up in there. All right.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's just keep it below, keep it above the waist, everybody.
We've got 2 shirts down so far.
You know what's funny is we've instantly created a rivalry between one of our scariest fans, Luis, and our current guest, Rick Storer. This is awesome. I feel a love connection.
Cool. This is cool.
So the question of this topic was really, why the hell are you in slow? That's kind of, I guess,
Michael, you answer because we were talking about this earlier. You tell everybody why you live there.
Why I live here in Slow?
Slow.
Well, I live in a town outside of San Luis,
Slow
called Atascadero. Yeah, but the reason I live in Atascadero is because it's somewhat cheaper. Still very expensive to live here, but it's a little bit cheaper than San Luis. But the reason I like living here, honestly, is it's just I kind of just like the vibe of the area. I really do. I like the people. I love doing comedy here because I just outshine everyone constantly. So it's like
I fish in a small pond. I know the feeling. I like that.
Huge.
For one other person.
Yeah. QA on Rick's store is the only other person that gives me any sort of
I'm about to sick the Attorney General on you. I swear to God.
I do. Just as an aside, I really do like when I go to Tascadero. I love the crowds there.
Yeah, they're like brash. I almost want to call them country folk.
Up their ass.
Country folk.
Yeah, like it really is. It's like they're I mean they really. It's like small town California hicks. Like and some of them, vibe, yeah. Some people you even like knew in high school, like all of a sudden have Southern accents now, which is really fun. Like,
that happens in Fremont as well. There's some kind of like red state vibe that goes through. Like we're all from Fremont. And that Duck Dynasty.
Overalls.
Oh yeah,
it's like it just it literally is
flung around their back.
Yep.
Just
I worked at it's been one of my jokes about where I used to work at What the Cluck when they would see the sign for halal chicken and they would literally come up and like, what's this halal chicken all about? And like, what the fuck? You know? So Deneen, I know you probably told us, but what did bring you to San Luis Obispo County?
Well, I have family here. My sister Shannon and my brother-in-law Jimmy have lived here for like 30 plus years. My two oldest nephews, they don't live here now, born, raised, and I visited forever. And then in 2016, my mom, who unfortunately passed, and today is her birthday, so happy birthday, Mom.
Happy birthday,
she decided to move to Arizona, and it was too freaking expensive to live in the Bay Area too, especially 2016, and I had family down there, so I was ready to go, so I meandered down there, and I'll just let you know, Michael, I'm lucky. I'm in a pretty good rental situation. I have a cool landlord, so that's why I'm still here in SLO.
Yeah, it's
the only
like,
reason.
You Bay Area people can sympathize, but it's hard to explain that, like, it actually is expensive as fuck here, too. Like, it doesn't make any sense. You guys have all this infrastructure, all this stuff, like, all these jobs, you know? And, like, I have a house here, and it costs a lot of fucking money to have a house. Like, just the privilege of not having a person live under me is incredibly expensive. And it doesn't make any sense to me. But it is beautiful. And Oprah Winfrey liked a sandwich shop here.
I've been to do you still live in the same house that I last was at?
No, not my little, I think the last time you were here, it was my little shared wall house.
Might have been. It was a nice place. It felt really roomy. You had a whole like room that was like made from the backyard or something.
Oh yeah, no, that's the place I currently live in. Yeah.
You live in a nice fucking place.
I'm the most successful.
Where I live. So yeah, you should see where I live. I live in my landlord's butt. And it's you know.
Is your landlord Luis?
Close. Yeah. Like it's like 5 Luises in one.
Oh, okay.
So, that's me.
But yeah, yeah. Oh, anyway, so Rick, why slow? Why are you there?
Because I'm killing it super hard and I live with my mom.
Hell yeah, that's the way to go.
Oh, that is sexy.
Way to go, man.
Right? Yeah.
That is
yeah, that's it.
Stick with it, man.
You even starred with your mom in a movie.
Star is a strong word.
You're a star to me, baby.
Oh.
2 people that live with their parents in harmony are comedians and felons. So doing a great job.
There's a lot of overlap in that community.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
It's like that circle with the circle.
Yeah, the Venn diagram.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a Venn diagram.
Okay, so the next question that I have here, and this is a little more kind of.
Can I ask one thing before we move on?
Please do.
So you guys obviously think that the nickname for your county SLO is actually appropriate, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, that's what everyone calls it.
Yeah.
I before I realized what that because it was the county. I actually thought that was like a joke nickname you guys had for your county, because it's very slow there. And
Well,
very
they got to
interesting.
college.
that,
They're pretty
that
sharp.
qualifies, Erie. It qualifies. They're very slow in all facets of the word.
And I didn't mean brain wise. I meant like vibe. That's what I meant.
Yeah,
So we
it
do
is.
have
It
like a
is.
slow
I
vibe. Yeah,
trying to be a
definitely.
dick. I was just saying like
They use meth.
I mean,
there,
both,
too.
really, to be
You
honest.
guys don't,
Yeah.
no, you guys have meth there too. Don't
Oh,
be
tons of it.
acting
No,
like-
that's an Atascadero. Slow itself,
Yeah.
baby. That's smooth
College town.
sailing.
That's a
That's
college.
that's what keeps me in this house, baby.
Methamphetamine.
We had excitement. We had all those protests
Oh,
Mhm.
God.
downtown.
Oh.
Black Lives Matter.
Oh, the good ones. Yeah, I thought you were talking about the shitty ones. Yeah, those are the good
No.
ones. I've had some, dude. There's been some like Trump
Yeah.
people driving around protesting masks and
Totally.
protesting.
That's part of. It seems like there are no like spots that are completely liberal or completely conservative.
No, yeah, it's really mixed bag here.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that
I mean,
accent we were talking about earlier, like as they erect the Trump flag, that accent
Mhm.
just gets thicker and thicker as it
It's,
goes on.
yeah, right in the middle of saying
Insane.
2020, they go Trump 2020.
posers.
Just
So,
real quick, Rick and Michael, you guys had when I first met you, and I think it went on before. You guys had a podcast, right? Or
yeah.
something with pirate. Why do I think pirate?
Yeah, it was called Avast Ye Scoundrel. It was a lot of fun, but it fell
You guys
apart
are
because
reminding me of that
we
right now. I'm
are
loving
lazy.
it.
Oh,
I
well,
love you,
we've been we're working on something.
well,
Got
it's
something
funny
in the
that you
can.
say it. Why did it fall apart? What made it fall apart there?
Okay, well, a combination of things. A combination of like we didn't stagger the episodes, and we didn't like leave ourselves time to record. So it was like we were recording every week's episode that week and having to edit it that week and do everything that week, and it got like really hard with the backlog.
You can't do it. Just kidding.
It
Sorry.
being-
That was one of the reasons.
It took
Also, I'm lazy.
Sorry.
That helped.
Sorry.
Very
Sorry.
lazy. And also the model just wasn't sustainable. Like we were trying.
Yeah, it really rested off the backs of our like talented friends, you know, like it was like it was an interview panel show, and it was just kind of like we had to like siphon out our talented friend, and it's really hard to do that in San Luis Obispo County, you know.
And because you're supposed to be like interviewing and celebrating what they have going on.
This brings up. I mean, it's funny that you bring this up because this is the thing that the next topic's about. Is why the hell? Because I mean, Deneen is in, you know, she's in that area, and she has been the champion of our Zoom shows, our just the things that we've taken full advantage of it. And so, why the hell are you not taking full advantage of the Zoom comedy revolution like Deneen here?
I've been doing Zoom shows.
No, you doing Zoom shows is one thing, but I mean running, because like you guys said, you had a podcast. The whole reason this thing existed was because Eerie and I had a fledgling podcast that was like, you know, monthly to, you know, whenever we just got around to it.
Mhm.
And it was really just an excuse to have a free lunch on Eerie. But in the end, I'm just saying that was what kept me in the game.
No, because, and just to explain, because we used to have everybody come here, and I would buy lunch, and we would all have lunch together and kind of get into the vibe, what we were going to talk about, and then we would record the podcast. And so that's what he means by that. But,
Yeah, and so I had to turn the light on. But no, so one of the things but what's been completely awesome is I just had one Zoom show go well that was kind of in a podcasty form, and that gave me, and that was like the first week of shelter in place. I was already preparing to do nothing, and then this came about. You know what I love is Luis is starting to have like an apocalypse now moment in his room.
yes, that's what I do.
It started to look like that when he yeah, there you go. Yeah, go start doing some karate moves there. But
Oh, at the end, will you shave your head at the end and do like a total like
the horror.
I am living in a world of shit.
Yeah.
I'd like to ask Rick what happened to his body. What happened to
don't worry. That's a sidestep in the question.
Years
We'll
of
get on to that.
mistreatment. Just years
It's
of
already
mistreatment.
6:37. This is pure slow right here. It's already 6:37, and we have topics to get through.
What are topics? We don't have.
Why haven't you?
Where we're going, we don't need topics.
Why haven't you adapted to the Zoom shit? I mean, Michael, you got a great excuse. You have a kid, right? You have
Honestly, I'll answer that seriously, and it's all insecurity with the fact that if you've ever seen me do comedy, I am really into crowd work, and Zoom is not conducive to crowd work. And like I told Richard when he was giving me shit about it the other day, he's like, why the fuck aren't you doing Zoom shows? It's honestly because I don't think I'm going to be funny. And I don't know if the medium is transferable to me. So I'll give it a shot. Me and Richard have some stuff we're talking about right now, actually, that we're some content ideas. So we very well could be. And I realize now that I do need to I need to throw my hat in the Zoom ring, I guess, because
what's funny is you say you can't crowd work. Well, you funny is you say you can't crowd work, and yet we have a completely interactive show with an audience here.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And I don't know, it's just like a tempo thing to me. Like it's like it takes a millisecond to respond or whatever, and like for the audio to come through.
It's
and
a rhythm. It requires adapting, which is something that we all are supposed to be fucking doing in comedy.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna argue with you. I agree.
Look at me. I have a green screen. Look at me, dude. You gotta adapt like
work
this.
Is all about.
This is adapting. This is adaptation. I'm Nicolas Cage.
Moment.
I agree with you, Dave.
I'm just saying that. No, all it is. This is a plea because Deneen, tell us. I mean, because you know all these comics. Because I invited another slow comic. I think Christiana Ray to do this. I remember do this show, and her response was just quite like, I'm not into the Zoom. I'm like, what is with all these motherfuckers that don't want to do Zoom shit? It's like, it's a fun hour and you get some tip money. So
Michael gave some. I liked it.
Can I say one thing now? I think it's interesting because I do think there is a difference between the podcast format where you're talking and having a good time.
I like this.
And the comedy. Because absolutely, doing stand-up on Zoom is very strange. It's very strange, and you're really only doing it because you're excited to have an audience. But it's not the same. But I feel like the podcast thing is much easier to do, and it's great because you do actually get to interact with people, with your fellow comics and stuff.
Well, once you get familiar with the rhythm of the technology, it is easier then to just adapt if you're to do a straightforward comedy, like as you can see Rick. I mean, look at this motherfucker. He's ahead in space. Deneen, what were you gonna say?
So I'm glad Michael and Rick are on this because I wanted them to see it because, actually me and Dave was like, and I've always been about technology and I've worked at home for forever. So I've been on web meetings. So this isn't anything new to me, but Dave was like, I give him kudos. He was on the forefront. And I've seen more comedy in the pandemic than I ever did in 2 years in slow. Mm-hmm. People I could see just virtually that don't come to our area. And what do I have, like 50 million new comedian friends?
You got a lot of friends. Yeah, I see you interacting with them all the time.
I can kind of interact, but I behave myself.
Luis too. No, Luis and Deneen are the two fans from and Melanie to some extent, but Melanie's a budding comic as well.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
I'm proud of my girl.
But but as in terms of interactive fans, Luis and Deneen have been two people that you'll just see chiming in. I'm like, oh shit, look at they're chiming in on these threads and whatever. Luis, I have to help out a little more because I got to protect him from himself. In there, but I love the guy. He's
we put our comments in the chat. We follow the rules. I was allowed to be unmuted now, but
Melanie, she started a open mic on Tuesdays that she runs with Pete Munoz, who you guys both know very well.
Love Pete.
Yeah, so
I hosted. Pete's my bitch. He just kind of screamed. He's my bitch during the open mic. I would highly suggest to get familiar with some Zoom, like just whatever, doing a set on there, doing those mics because they're easy to do. He'd be happy. He'd love having you there, and you can kind of get a feel for doing it. I know Rick's done. I've been on Zoom shows with Rick. He did. You did.
He's right at home. Look at him.
I forget that I'm blanking out, but the younger comedians.
Yes.
But I just wanted you guys.
Great reveal, man.
it gets really, the comedy becomes really organic here too. I mean, we've just had some really fun times just with everyone because it's in, like you said, in the moment. And it just, I've been having a blast. So I just wanted to share it with my
this format I love.
family.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is too, is like I think the fact that we went from doing like this sporadically as a podcast, we went from that where we were like, you know, again, it's like monthly, maybe 2 times a month if we're lucky. And we went to doing this weekly because, I mean, we had nothing established, and it was like, and once I saw the potential for it, I'm like, we could adapt to this, and we did. And it's actually greatly improved. I think both Eerie and ourselves just kind of like finding a format and just having something to look forward to. That was a big deal in the early pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's the hardest part about this whole comedy thing is just like knowing that I don't have shows coming up and like knowing that
you got to create it for yourself. Yeah. It's just like, you know what's funny? It's basically Zoom is like going back to the open mics.
Yeah.
It is starting over, but once there's Luis. Because believe me, once I had that one fun time, I'm like that. I saw the potential. I knew we could adapt it. And then not only that, my other friend Nina G, whose place I'm at right now. By the way, Deneen, your mom and Nina's mom have the same birthday.
I found out yesterday. I just realized that. And I found out Nina G and I have family because my brother-in-law's from Atlanta.
Right. Yeah, you're related too.
Go figure.
So Rick, were you on board with Zoom right away?
No, I was like, this sucks. And then I did one open mic that I bombed my ass off at. And then I did one that went really well where I did like crowd work most of the time. Like I feel like that's how Zoom comedy works best. Is not, you can't just like deliver material like you used to. Like you just kind of have to acknowledge what's going on and work with the medium. Like that's why I have the green screen up and everything. And like, you just have to like play with the medium more.
Exactly.
And so once I learned that, I got a lot better, but still it's a struggle. Every time I have to just do a show where I'm supposed to just do material, like if it's a showcase, I it's tough.
I've seen you do it though. You did it pretty well on, I think it was Cynthia's show we were on,
yeah. I mean, I've had good and bad experiences. Like it can work well.
Xander's show, you were Joe.
Oh yeah. I did Joe Exotic on Xander Beltran's show.
Nice.
Really good for this. You guys really think on your feet.
Yeah, it's a lot of like improv, which is how me and Michael work. On our butts. Yeah, we think in and of and on our butts.
It's funny because like comedians for years, this is one of my initial responses to these people that were whining about Zoom early on, and I get why, but it was like I've watched all of these people make unwatchable content for the internet for years, and then the one time that we're now forced to like adapt to this to some whatever way you want to do it, they're like, I don't know what to fucking do. I'm like, just keep doing all of the boring shit you were doing in the first place. Like what maybe put a little more focus into it. Maybe you might make something I could actually watch and not cringe,
But also just do, at least you're doing something. That was my thing is like, Dave's like, we'll see you next Sunday. We're gonna do it every Sunday. I'm like, we're doing it every Sunday?
Yeah.
Like, cool, because
forcing yourself into having that kind of deadline or that kind of thing is always the number one way. One of Melanie, whoever you were saying, was just hosting an open mic. I was going to say that's the best way to become a comic ever. I fully 100% believe that.
Start your own thing.
Forcing yourself to have to be a host every week or every month or whatever is
in recovery. That's why we say you get a service commitment, because in recovery, what forces you to keep coming back is a commitment that makes you at least go to a meeting once a week. So, and it's kind of the same thing with if you start a show, if you start an open mic, if you do something that forces you to kind of like to learn both sides of how things run, and you develop. It's just that's
on just to piggyback on that, like when you book a show. And then you're like, oh shit, I got a show coming up. And it forces you to be like, well, you know what? I'm going to throw in this new joke, or I'm going to try this out, or I'm going to try.
Yeah.
It forces you. And when I stopped having that, I stopped writing new stuff for a while because it was like, I'm not doing shows anyway. But then when you start doing even Zoom shows, it's like, okay, now I'm back in it. You know what I
You
mean?
have an avenue to express yourself about
Yeah.
what's on, and we got plenty on our mind.
And I wouldn't have met Eerie if I wasn't on this show. And I love you.
Oh, Deneen,
You're
you're such a
awesome.
sweetheart.
He has a doll room.
Yeah.
I'll never forget
You.
that.
The
That's
way
not-
Deneen said that made
I
it
know.
so horrifying.
It made it sound like, and I'm gonna make her one of my dolls.
Yeah, she sews them into the plastic.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, I'll put your soul in there, bitch. Yeah, no, it's
Scary.
no. I always the only reason I have a doll room, somebody gave me a ceramic, like a porcelain doll one time, and I was like, this is cool. And then everyone in my family goes, she really likes those. So then I started getting like hundreds of them for every occasion.
Yep.
Now I have like 200, and I always tell everybody the reason. What are you gonna do? Throw them in the trash? What? So they can come back to life and kill me? I mean, come on. Everyone knows.
I got made fun of though for picking up a bag of left out wrestling figures that nobody wanted, and like next door. It's like, oh my God, you're taking a bag of wrestling. I'm like, you just have a room full of fucking dirty, dusty dolls.
It's true.
So,
Triple D's, baby.
I do.
these are action figures. They can be played with,
Yeah, action's in the name,
I
my
bought
man.
one off of you. I bought the Undertaker off.
You did do.
$5.
That is true. So you did
They're
understand.
They're man dolls, Dave.
I'm going.
Wow.
Okay, we need to get to these next subjects really quick here. The next topic, as you can see in my background,
It's free pay.
this is: do felons and ex-cons make for good comedy audiences? Just a quick, let's get a little read of the room. What do you think, Deneen? Do felons and ex-cons make for good comedy audiences?
I don't want to know.
All right, good answer. Eerie, what do you think?
Do felons? It's not like I've never done shows in San Jose before, so yeah, I guess.
Good answer. What about you, Rick? Do felons and ex-cons make for good comedy audiences?
Of course, yes. I was doing a show one time, and there was a guy with a teardrop tattoo of California, and I roasted the shit out of that guy for like 7 minutes, and he came up to me after the show, was like, "That was so fucking funny, man!" Like, and he was so like down to clown, like
He was a poser. He was not a real felon or an ex-con. Michael, what do you think? Do felons and ex-cons make for good comedy audiences?
Absolutely, because I like people that can take it a little bit, and I'm not doing some weird prison sex joke or anything.
Thank
Like
God.
I like
that's
people
what
that.
I meant. I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I figured that was what I was gonna. No, I like people that talk shit. I like to talk shit. I like giving each other jabs. I think that stuff's fun, and those kind of people tend to find that fun too. So it's like
Actually,
Michael,
well,
I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt, but remember the show wasn't he the prison guard that for men?
Charles Manson's prison guard. Yeah.
Yeah, you were in that. Yeah, that was a great
He
show.
worked at the
I was
prison.
still in that group, and
He
of course,
worked at the prison.
their butt just thought you were just so rude, and it was like one of the best shows ever.
He worked at the prison,
Don't
though.
listen to those slow people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, last night I am in the minority, I guess, tonight, where I say no, felons and ex-cons do not make for good comedy audiences. As firsthand knowledge from last night, where my landlord brought his, he said he had a group of people. I thought it was some people that I've met before at a comedy show. And there's occasionally a very sketchy young man who I thought was my landlord's nephew. And it turns out, no, he's just the son of a friend who my landlord's cousin does not think highly of, and nor does he think highly of his son. And he's come over, he's borrowed the truck. I've seen him drop off the truck and run it right into the curb. I think he also got the truck in an accident once. Apparently he was in prison for the last 10 years. He is a white boy from Hayward that pretty much has your typical Hayward Wigger vibe about him. And let's just say, as soon as I heard that he was coming to the show, which was because a nephew was going to come to the show. And as soon as we went to pick up the nephew, my landlord turns around and tells the nephew, full disclosure, Scotty's coming with us, and I know that Scotty and your brother had an issue back, whatever. And that's when the nephew made the smartest decision out of everybody there and said, I think I'm going to stay home tonight. And my landlord tries to talk him out of it. He stays home. We then end up going to Skid Row in Oakland, one of many Skid Rows. We go to the Skid Row street that's right by Home Depot between Oakland and Alameda. It's right next to the reservoir where they were street fishing over there all day. So we're going by basically an encampment of people using fentanyl, heroin, whatever else in their cars and RVs. And not only that, we were getting instructions on the phone as this dude was getting frustrated with me not understanding him mumbling on the goddamn phone where he was. And then we finally pick up this asshole and his girlfriend, and then we bring them there. And of course, he naturally thinks a comedy show on the street requires someone to help the comedians bring it, as he said, and basically thought that yes, provoke and luckily the first comedian handled it well. The second comedian, Tammy T. Love, who is not a beloved comedian of my co-host, but who's a somewhat locally respected comic here and there, whatever. He interrupted her, and she couldn't wait to roast him because basically, as she said, she goes, "Why are your undershorts baggier than your pants? Like you got boxers that are baggier than the jeans you're wearing." And she roasted him. Crowd was laughing, and naturally, the felon wasn't laughing. He then got more upset. And was then so my landlord keeps telling him to shut up. My landlord's cousin keeps telling him to shut up, at which then he gets mad at the landlord's cousin. And then that whole thing goes down. And during my set, I got to headline this wonderful show with them right in front of me as my landlord and him are quietly coming to the point of where it might come to blows. And all this is going on. There was it was an elephant that was not in a room. It was elephant outside the room that I could not address because this was my ride home. And this was all going on during the opening 10 to 20 minutes of my set. And Jason was there, my buddy, my friend Jason, God bless him and Harry. It was a good show nonetheless. And what's funny is I was tense as fuck the entire time. And afterwards, when I was telling people that, some of the other, they were like, wow, I couldn't even tell. And so I'm a trained parrot that just has it down to where I can panic on the inside and have a poker face the entire time and still somehow mumble all these fucking words. So,
comedy, baby.
Yeah.
Could I comment on what you just said?
Please do.
I think that the reason is because you were an acid taker, so even though you thought other people's faces were melting, you completely were stoic about it. Like, something along.
Nowhere near acid. Acid was fun. That was nothing like that.
Have you ever performed on acid?
Yeah, not on. I performed on shrooms.
I've never done on shrooms. I've done acid a couple of times. It was pretty fun.
It depends on your like, I imagine if I was young and performing on acid, I would have loved it. When I was in my 30s, I was a little too old for acid. And because there were things I could do when I was younger on drugs that as I got older, it's like, I shouldn't be doing this in my 30s.
Yeah.
So,
Michael, I'm so sorry I cut you off. What were you going to say?
Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down.
Yep. Two things about what Dave said. I know how much I miss stand-up comedy now, solely based off the fact that all that horrifying shit you just said sounded like a blast. Because sometimes I love when I love when it's just derailing so fast sometimes that like you're just fighting to get it back. And
it's like contain the room. Everybody, what the fuck?
I closed strong, which I closed stronger than I opened. That's how I felt, and I got to do some new riffing and some whatever, but. I think the best part, my favorite thing was that after the show, the dude disappears. We think his girlfriend's with him. His girlfriend was passed out in my landlord's truck.
As you do. We
find out, and here's the thing. Apparently, this is a regular thing because we couldn't find dude. We left dude in the city. We ditched him. And she was like, yeah, he'll figure out what, either he'll figure it out or he'll get arrested again. And I'm like,
The
okay,
dude's
well, I
just
guess
a
it's
Labrador.
regular Saturday night. And then we end up dropping her back off at the fucking shady street by the river, and literally the van down by the river. And then we end up, oh no, we have a great idea. Let's go to the cousin's house where my landlord can continue to pound beers. The nephew can smoke weed and revel in his good decision of staying home, and I'm forced to basically enjoy. By the way, Mom, there's a new British comedy you can enjoy called Mrs. Brown's Boys, I think, or something like that. I'm curious what you think of it, because I hated it, and if it's something that Americans can truly revel in, it's bad British comedy. That
is the most necessary apostrophe S in the history of television. Mrs. Brown's Boys is much different than Mrs. Brown Boys.
Exactly. Totally.
Yep.
Oh, I would watch Mrs. Brown Boys.
I did watch Mrs. Brown Boys, and let me tell you, I didn't make it all the way through.
Yeah.
It's awful.
It's one of my main Pornhub search keywords.
It's the first thing from England. The first thing from England that I was like, this is fucking stupid. Like, I couldn't. It's bad. Like, dumb bad. And
James, I have a question.
Yeah.
So, are you saying the person that was driving was also drinking and getting
my
high?
landlord somehow can. He's the only guy I trust behind the wheel with mass alcohol in him, because he's a huge man of mass. He keeps joking that I have to drive, which I keep saying, no, I'm either going to be in your car when you get a DUI, be in your car when you flip the car or whatever, or we're getting home safely. I've been in the car with him on a couple occasions, and he's been fine. He used to be a cop. He used to be a private investigator.
So my question is, this is just kind of like a fun little like 8-ball. You kind of go, let's see what happens.
It wasn't. That's what I'm saying. No, I put myself in this position, and then like I was just grateful. I was never more grateful when I got home at 1:30 in the morning.
Dave's sober now. He doesn't do fun little 8 balls anymore.
That's real ride now is just being in the car with someone that we could either flip, get arrested, or make it home.
Yeah, it's a gamble. It's a gamble. But
I mean, in all honesty, that's generally whenever you get into a car, it's a gamble you're taking. Those are your 3 options.
If the person that's driving isn't hammered, then yeah.
If he was stumbling, if he was walking weird or whatever, I'd be like, no, I'll figure out a way. Like, I'll walk. My mom knows this. My stepdad knows this. I've walked from San Leandro to Union City before. I have no problem.
Oh, that's impressive.
Going home. But I'm saying that it's more just the fact that it's trust the situation, and there might be a little risk and all that stuff. This motherfucker drove after a hit and run driver and found him while he had so many beers in him at 1 in the morning.
Tenacity.
The guy, hogtied him, put him in his pickup truck.
Oh, you told me he kidnapped the guy.
I told this story in front of him. And by the way, I also
and you refused to admit that he kidnapped somebody.
This is the guy also who beat the shit out of 3 guys who were friends with the veterinarian he was mad at after his dog died, and he beat the shit out of those guys. And then not only that, I texted my dad telling him about what happened, and I got because my landlord I could tell he was getting a little sad when I brought up his dog. And then when I said the punchline about, I told my dad about this, I texted him, and my dad texted back, "That's weird. I'm at the vet's right now. I think I could take my vet." And he laughed, and I was like, "Thank God." So, yeah.
I really think we should be supporting our veterinarians.
Oh, yeah, exactly. No.
I agree.
So
this isn't a laughing matter.
I think we already covered the previous topic. There was one more topic that basically we already did mention earlier. I just want to show the graphic for it because it is. I want to say congratulations again, Michael, on having a little baby. There we go.
Right there. Michael had a tiny person. He had a tiny person.
It's
crazy. He helped with the tiny person.
I'm responsible for a human being's life. It is fucking
in the worst
weird.
time in history.
I couldn't find a cute baby picture, so I got a picture of a cheetah.
Oh, look at you.
Cheetah. That was the best I could do.
That's a cheater right there. All right.
Yeah. So cute babies.
All right. Well, we've reached the end of our show. Is there anything else you guys would like to plug?
Thank you so much.
Just for being, anything you guys want to plug to our audience here about anything you're doing or whatever?
I just beat Breath of the Wild, so you should play Breath of the Wild. It's a Zelda game and it's very fun.
Oh.
I'd like to plug Breath of the Wild, I think.
All right. Good plug. Honest plug. Michael?
Wow.
Follow me on social medias. We're working on some new stuff. Follow Rick on social medias. We're talking about doing something new, which is always what we do right before we don't do it. So, like, follow us. We might.
I want to see more of you two. You were awesome.
I think this will be a step in the right direction.
How much more do you want to see, Deneen?
Oh, you want me to take my shirt off?
No. Deneen. Dave,
Deneen, what do you want to plug? Deneen, what are you plugging?
Yeah, what are you plugging, Deneen?
I'm plugging these two. Oh, wait, that didn't come out right.
Plug me, baby.
Yes, you are.
Oh.
Yes, you are.
You guys are my last hope. You're my Obi-Wan Kenobis.
Oh,
I literally thought you were going to say you're my OBGYN.
Yeah. Plug me, mommy.
That too.
I don't think you're qualified for either thing.
I just hope you guys see how much fun this is.
Awesome.
There's a lot of fun Zoom things like this. Just even if you have to borrow your cousin's Kindle again.
Yeah. Funny enough, her name's Kindle, so it's fucking weird.
It's fun to be an audience member. Well, for me, it gives me something to do.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
My lifeline.
But thank you guys so much for having us on here.
Thank you. This is so much fun.
I actually enjoyed this
I do want
format.
to say one thing. I want to thank Deneen for tipping us. You're on the show, silly. You didn't have to do that. But thank you so much.
I have to take care of my boys.
We appreciate you. And
They both
if you need to tip, information, anybody who's interested in tipping, information to tip the comics tonight is in the chat. So they're same as always. Yeah, same bat time, same bat channel, all that stuff. So
every Sunday at 6. I'd also like to plug I do match game. It's going to be every other Saturday at 7 o'clock. Yes, it's a lot of work. We have to write all our own questions and stuff.
You should get these guys on that. These guys would be great on.
Oh yeah,
It would be fun.
Yeah,
match game is really fun. I usually have 3 comedians and 3 people from the burlesque world on the show. So
fun show.
Awesome.
Real fun show.
Really fun show.
Do you know Tuesday Thomas?
We'll
talk about it after.
I know Tuesday, and I have old beef with her.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think Tuesday has enough old beef on her for everyone.
Not anything. She got really inappropriate with me one time ago.
All right. Well, guys, hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in and hanging out with us. I want to thank our guests, Michael, Rick, and Deneen. We love you very much. Thank you, Louise, for always tuning in. Thank you, Melanie, for always tuning in. Thank you, Dave's parents, Jason, Kimberly. We really, really appreciate everybody tuning in for us. My dad, and
Hi, folks.
me and Dave. Bye. See you guys next week at 6.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Love.
Bye.